For this section, I want to first acknowledge that it's the summer of 2025. And since the beginning of the year, the new administration has been unleashing some sweeping changes. These are marked by deep federal cuts, aggressive tariffs, regulatory upheaval, and now economic impact. So these dramatic and often seemingly cruel changes will probably trigger a moral dissonance response in you and your clients. So let's begin by defining what I mean by moral dissonance. Moral dissonance arises when your ethical convictions or values fundamentally conflict with the expectations or policies of your leader or administration. It represents a deep clash of morals, principles, and ethics. It's more than just a difference of opinion. It signals a profound clash between your ethical compass and the expectations imposed by the institution. This year, it is very likely that you and your clients may be experiencing a misalignment between your personal values and those of the current administration. In fact, it may often seem as if this administration is attempting to impose its values on you and your organization. And it seems every day you wake up to again learn that the national morals and values that you embraced have either been replaced or eliminated. So let's do a quick exercise. I want to start by creating a moral dissonance scale, ranging from pride to shame. Okay, so here it is. 1, pride, joy, hope, optimism, down to shame and guilt. Because I want you to think about the last couple of months. I want you to apply this scale and think about how you felt when you learned about decisions the administration has made. Since you did not vote for many of these changes, you probably learned about them the same way I did. How did you feel when you learned about the DOGE cuts, when there was no publicized analysis or strategy behind these changes? The process behind the U.S. aid and foreign aid cuts in 2025 has drawn sharp criticism for its lack of transparency. How did you feel when you learned about the impact of the closure of the Department of Education on low-income students and eliminate programs for kids with disabilities? I mean, how does it make you feel? And since I always thought we were a nation of immigrants, once again, how did you feel when you learned about Luis Leon, an 82-year-old grandfather living in the United States in 1987, goes in for help and instead is arrested and deported? I mean, how did that make you feel? So I just want you to just quickly for the next couple of seconds, just think about all these eliminations and cuts. So as this list runs by, perhaps it's the first time you're seeing some of them, how are you feeling about the consequences and impact on the most vulnerable people in our nation? Now, as this list goes by, if you scored yourself, or if you felt that you have fallen in the 4 or 5 category in terms of how you felt, then you should first understand or appreciate that you're not alone. I believe that as we learn more about the impact of the administration's policies, the more we may experience moral dissonance. As an executive, leadership, or life coach, you need to understand how these changes impact you emotionally in order to support your clients. Maybe this is the first moment that reveals our government operates more by the letter of the law rather than the spirit of morals, ethics, and values. In 2025, have you noticed moments where your clients felt morally or ethically out of step with their organizations? It's as if this year every profession and business segment is under attack from the administration. This is occurring at a national level with ripple effects occurring throughout the country every day. For business leaders, they're facing pressure to abandon DEI commitments amid political backlash, risking employee trust and brand integrity. Legal professionals are torn between upholding laws and resisting policies that undermine justice or target vulnerable populations. Educators are facing policy restrictions and financial reductions that undermine their core mission to foster empowerment and inclusivity. So the question for you as you talk to your clients is, what has been the impact of moral dissonance on their leadership? Emotional exhaustion. This occurs as a result of mental and emotional fatigue from prolonged internal moral conflict. Some of the symptoms are sleep disruption. You have trouble going to sleep because you can't relax because of all this unresolved tension that you're experiencing. Symptoms with your clients may often start with lots of self-criticism, frequent negative self-talk. When they have less confidence in themselves, they rely more on external validation than trusting themselves. The third impact of moral dissonance is decision paralysis. And this is when your client may have difficulty taking action due to overwhelming moral ambiguity or fear of consequences. The symptoms include overthinking, which is basically repetitive analysis, which causes delay. Clients may experience conflict between competing values since there's a fear of moral failure because the morals of values are starting to shift. There can be increased cynicism, which is a growing sense of disillusion in the people and institutions and the morals themselves. As an executive leadership or life coach, it's important that you anticipate some level of moral dissonance and have a strategy ready to apply.